From Riverside Health System, this is the Healthy You podcast, where we talk about a range of health-related topics focused on improving your physical and mental health. We chat with our providers, team members, patients, and caregivers to learn more about how to maintain a healthy lifestyle and improve overall physical and mental health. So let's dive in to learn more about becoming a healthier you. I'm really excited to have with me in the Healthy You studio, Amanda Gada. I got that right. Amanda is the Memory Care Navigator for Riverside Martha W. Goodson Center. Hi.
Hi.
Well, this episode, we're going to be navigating memory care during the holidays for loved ones with dementia. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit. All right, welcome. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Always a pleasure to be here.
Yes. We're going to discuss this very important topic today, exploring how to navigate memory care, for one thing, during the holidays and for the loved ones, which can be challenging. This holiday season, while it brings a lot of joy, right? But it can also present unique challenges for the ones caring for individuals with memory impairment. We're going to explore this important subject with you and then just hear what you feel like are some things that they can do and how to navigate the situation. Amanda, tell me a little bit about how you ended up being a memory care navigator.
Okay.
And what that is.
Sure.
I know what a navigator is because I can't get anywhere without my navigation.
I hear you.
I would be lost.
Me neither. So I graduated with my MSW, Master's of Social Work, in 2001, and really found a passion in social work in the medical field.
Okay.
So I've been in a variety of settings: outpatient, acute, home health care, hospice care. And when an opportunity arose 3 years ago to come work for Riverside Health System as a memory care navigator, I applied, and I'm very excited that I was chosen to be a memory care navigator. I really feel like it's very important for families to always have a point of contact to reach out to, no matter what the need is at that very moment. Okay. Because with a journey with your loved one with dementia, it's going to change, and it could change quite frequently. And someone that you can always pick up the phone and get resources, get connected to agencies that you need to be connected, the education, the information, and most importantly, the support. For both the loved one that's living with dementia and their family members, caregivers.
Absolutely.
No one's journey is the same. So that's what makes it so unique. And I really try to individualize what it is that particular individual and their family needs at that moment.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't always talk about that caregiver. Right. So I'm so glad you reiterated that. It's so important that they remain healthy. Because what happens to that loved one if they don't have that support? Right.
The self-care and the health care is vital.
Right.
To being able to maintain and getting breaks, knowing your loved one will still be safe.
Absolutely.
Being able to take respite. And do the things that are that are very important to you. We call it, caregivers filling up their cup. What is it that they can do? What activity, what hobby, what passion to fill their cup? So then they're more able to be present for their loved one.
Yes. And the integration of a navigator, we've heard about it early on in oncology, and how complex that a diagnosis or navigating an oncological disease can be. I really think that it speaks to Riverside's commitment to care for our community and others, like we care for family members, to put that resource in place in other areas so that our communities, our patients and families have that support to walk them through those challenging times.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
It is vital.
Yes. Yes. So We talked a little bit about how important it is to keep that caregiver healthy. And one of those things is them enjoying and being able to celebrate, milestones and holidays.
Right.
So, talk a little bit about how do they navigate that?
So I think if there are three takeaways, it would be prioritize, what traditions, what dishes,
Right.
whatever it is that, they feel like they can prioritize, because I think we have a tendency to overdo the holidays. We want to make it special. We want to have 15 different casseroles out for everyone to enjoy, everyone's favorite, right?
Yes.
So I really think it's prioritizing and what is going to bring joy in that holiday celebration.
Right.
What's going to be meaningful? What tradition or traditions do we need to keep? What do we need to scale down? Then I think also adjust what is this holiday gathering going to look like, or what is this special celebration going to look like? So they're not only for them, but their loved one isn't left feeling overwhelmed.
Right. And Amanda, do you think that may also entail embracing that it may have to be someplace different?
It may have to be someplace different.
Okay.
For 30 years, everybody may have traveled to the family home.
Right.
It may be that a caregiver may need to gauge, is this going to be too tough on my loved one? Do they need to be in a familiar setting? The holiday travel is very hectic. Everybody dreads that, whether you're living with brain change or not. So really looking at what is feasible. What is a feasible plan to have a successful holiday or family celebration?
Yes. One of the things that I remember from conversations with Mr. Goodson is planning ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a really good job of talking about the importance of that and going ahead of and really understanding and navigating the path and identifying any potential triggers or opportunities that may not be good for
and I
the
think
person experiencing the memory loss.
Absolutely. And I think planning ahead means more than one plan.
Right.
And really talking with other family members ahead of time about what this celebration or this holiday is going to look like for both the caregiver and the loved one. We have all sorts of technology these days. Do we need a Zoom? Do we need to have a FaceTime? Do we need to have a family phone call? Do we need to have smaller gatherings, but maybe a couple of them? Because if it is a big extended family celebration, having too many people sometimes can be very overwhelming.
Amanda, can you talk a little bit about the importance of having that consistency for someone experiencing memory loss?
Yes, routine is crucial.
Okay.
And traveling or being in an unfamiliar place may break that routine, and it can be very disorienting and very upsetting to somebody that is living with dementia.
For someone who may be navigating this for the first time, is there a suggestion that you could give on how to kind of map it out as they come up with a plan to navigate this?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, really knowing where your loved one is in their journey and gauging what is going to be the best possible scenario. Is it, do we stay home this year?
Okay.
And reevaluating that with each, upcoming holiday or a milestone celebration or a family celebration.
Yes.
Because it may be that in the past, the loved one was in a different place. It may be that it may not be the best thing anymore. So I think really that planning ahead, prioritizing what traditions, and then making the adjustments and communicating with family members in advance, letting them know what to expect. If they are one of the invited guests. I know it sounds silly, but the suggestion has even been made that it could be a familiar face to the individual, but wearing a name tag because they may not be able to remember that
That's a
person's
great
name.
idea.
They remember their
Setting
face,
them up
the
for
face.
success,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Or really, level setting with your other family members ahead of time to say, please introduce yourself, if you're not wearing name tags. So I think it's really having several different plans in your pocket and then figuring out what's going to work best for your loved one.
What are some recommendations you could give caregivers when the plan doesn't work and it becomes overwhelming?
Right. So I really think having a dedicated quiet space. So if your loved one starts to become very overwhelmed or agitated, or, you can tell they just feel very uncomfortable or it's not a good situation anymore, to have a quiet space, a familiar space, hopefully, or a familiar something along with them, where they can go and have a rest break, with a familiar face, somebody that would be familiar with them, to sit with them so then they don't feel intimidated or scared. A favorite activity, a favorite blanket, a favorite photo album, whatever it is that would comfort that individual to have along, whether they're in their own home, their own space, or whether they're in another family member's home.
Okay. What about long trips and long drives? I could see how that could be extremely challenging.
Yes.
If that occurs, and you're either on a plane or in a car on a long trip. So,
yeah.
What would you suggest in those instances?
Right. So unfamiliar surroundings can be very scary. Really, again, just having something along that comforts them.
Okay.
Reassuring words. If it's a car trip that's long, really breaking up that car trip. Not trying to do it all in one day. So frequent rest breaks, trying to keep somebody on their routine, even though they're in an unfamiliar place, but meal breaks and sleep schedule, keeping the routine that loved one is used to would be crucial, because they are going to be out of their environment, and that can be very unsettling.
Okay. So I get, keep those trips short, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Those familiar items you talked about.
Yep.
Stick to routines, plan those breaks, and have quiet space.
Right.
Yes. I know we're talking about adults, but these are some great strategies I can use with my granddaughter. Because when those kids are going through like that some of those different stages, there's certain things that trigger her. If there's people that she's afraid of for whatever reason, because kids are a blank slate. So it's like putting them in unknown environments. So we've realized that we have to, do that in different phases.
Right.
And when they're afraid, they're just afraid, and you may not understand it.
Yes.
Yes. Anything else that you would like to just provide our viewers as it relates to this that you think would be helpful?
So I think, depending on the stage, or where your loved one is with their journey in dementia, trying to involve them in the holiday celebration as much as you can, or if they're still really good at wrapping gifts or stuffing cards, maybe it's one favorite recipe that you can do together, because sometimes when people forget their recipes, that can be very overwhelming as well. Or they forget the traditions that you did every year. I also think, please consider different decorations that you use. Decorations may need to be scaled down. If there's too many decorations, maybe a loved one gets overwhelmed. Too many people, a loved one can get quickly overwhelmed. Thinking about like twinkling lights or something, if that creates if it creates your loved one to be upset or agitated, think about lights on the tree and maybe not having lights on the tree this year, or ornaments, really trying to stay away from food decorations or something that would look like food decorations, because that could be really confusing to a loved one, depending on where they are in their journey of dementia. I think also trying to consider, when it is the holidays, what does gift giving look like? Some families could sit hours on end in a living room, and a loved one living with dementia isn't going to be able to tolerate that sort of thing as people exchange gifts and watch everyone unwrap their gifts. Also considering what gift shopping you're doing. Some of the gifts that we've given someone that is now living with dementia could be very overwhelming or scary. So thinking about things that bring comfort to them. If they like to watch the birds, maybe you consider a bird feeder. They like to have warm, fuzzy blankets, thinking about warm, fuzzy blankets and that sort of thing. Yes. So really kind of thinking, what is it that brings joy in your loved one's life? And what gift would be not only most useful, but not intimidating to them.
Sounds like managing our own expectations as well.
Absolutely. And the expectations of other family members that may not see them every day. And really communicating ahead of time that really right now, this is where our family member is in their journey. And we have to shift our communication and our approach to meet them where they are. Yeah.
And create new traditions.
Or it might be simpler traditions.
Yes. I mentioned self-care. We have so many resources embedded within our center. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, where caregivers can reach out for additional support. I think that's so important, and we did mention that as well. What are some of the things that they can do to incorporate that well-being while taking care of a family member? Sure.
So we have information and offer support groups for caregivers, memory cafes for folks that are living with dementia and their caregivers to go and enjoy just strictly socialization. It's a wonderful socialization opportunity and really helps connect them with other individuals and caregivers that might be going through very similar things. And then friendships start blossoming outside of that. Everybody's supporting one another. Memory Care Navigators at our center, our staff at our center can connect families with all sorts of different resources, regardless of what community they live in. I think our local agency on agings are crucial, for resource and referral, as well as our partners here within Riverside, and also in our greater community. So I think it's really important that, if a loved one or a caregiver is having a difficult time or has questions or doesn't know where to turn, to please reach out to our center. We'll get you connected. And then you would have the ongoing point of contact and support from a Memory Care Navigator.
It just sounds like, from listening to you, the importance of family coming together and setting those boundaries and expectations prior to any of those holidays, events.
Definitely.
All right, as we wrap up, any final tips? You've just given us so much great information, and thank you. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for all the work that you and your team are doing.
Thank you.
You're truly making a difference.
Thank you. I would say the one last takeaway that I want caregivers and family members and individuals that are living with dementia is to enjoy.
Yes.
So if you have to prioritize and simplify, if you need to adjust, then the third would be absolutely try to find a way to enjoy. Let your other family members know when you need to take a break and take a walk. Have other family members bake that favorite recipe, or bake the holiday baked goods for you. Don't feel like you have to do it all, because then you are able to step away and enjoy the moment and make wonderful memories with your loved one that is walking the journey of dementia.
Yes. And be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself.
Give yourself grace.
Yes.
And I was in an event with you a couple of years back, and I never forgot this. The suggestion was to record a message as if a friend had called you and was having trouble, what you would say to them, and then to save that message on your tough days and play it back to yourself.
Yes.
Because sometimes caregivers don't always give themselves that same grace.
Right. And they don't give themselves enough credit.
Yes.
They're doing what is best in the moment where they are, and sometimes not giving enough credit to yourself, or just thinking, I should be doing more, I should be doing this,
Yes.
and patting yourself on the back and knowing that you are doing a wonderful job.
Absolutely. They truly are. Thank you so much again, Amanda. Thank you for all the insights you gave our viewers today, and even myself. We hope these tips help families create a supportive holiday environment. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with others. Thank you for listening to this episode of Healthy You. We're so glad you were able to join us today and learn more about this topic. If you would like to explore more, go to riversideonline.com.